So today we contemplate Gandhi's truth. And there's an ancient Vedic prayer. And I'll say a little bit of it in Sanskrit because I want you to hear the vibration and then I'll translate it for you. Asanto ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorama amritam gamaya, sarvesham swasti bhavatu, sarvesham shantir bhavatu, sarvesham mangalam bhavatu, loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhajani pashantu. So roughly translated, Lord, may thy hand lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May all be peaceful. May all become enlightened in culture. May all attain God's perfection. May truth be our religion. May service be our worship. May earth, the whole living, breathing, holy Mother Earth, be our family. And may union, yoga, union with God, and meditation on God be our way. May our eyes see happy things. May our tongues be sweet and truthful. May our bodies be divine instruments. May noble thoughts come to us from all corners of the universe. And may we never leave our consciousness of God. And may God's consciousness never leave us. So that's roughly translated some of those words from the morning prayers that they do at many spiritual centers around the world. So now I would like to turn this over to Nimo to talk about his life choices, his seva, his life of service, and to share with us a song called To My People.
Thank you, Reverend Judy, and thank you all of you for joining together in this sacred way every Sunday. I'm here in Denver, Colorado, at my brother and sister-in-law's place, and I'm in my niece's room, so that's why we got this magical little decorations going on in the back. Yeah, I hope everybody is doing well, healthy, and happy. When Reverend Judy asked for me to share a little about my journey in service, I was thinking back about what that even means, a journey in service. And for me, it's always been a story of kind of taking each step of the way and seeing where I wanted to go. And I remember when I graduated high school wanting to be like a CEO of an entertainment company, living on Santa Monica Beach. I was hoping for a big house and cars. And now right now I'm in Colorado, but for the last 12 years I've been in India, living in a city that's kind of in the middle of a desert, and working with many children and women in very impoverished communities. So it's quite a distinction from what I thought I would be, what I dreamt to do. And now I look back and find so much joy in this process. And I think for me, the trigger point was the idea that I was feeling empty amidst various successes. I just didn't feel like there was something inside that was feeling satisfied and nourished. The soul wasn't feeling nourished by the things that I was doing that maybe people were patting me on the back for, but ultimately I have to answer to myself. And I think that's been the key blessing or the grace, for sure, is to the acceptance and listening to the voice inside. I think that's what's luckily helped me stumble along the way, but find the path that has made me happy. And I there's this quote by Mahatma Gandhi that has always stayed with me amidst the days that I feel lost or not sure where I was going or what I was doing. And the quote is, um, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." And again, when I kind of took that path, I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it meant to serve. And it's still constantly an ongoing journey, actually. But one thing I knew when I stepped into that direction was that I wanted to work on myself and I wanted to become happier. And I didn't want to suffer and I didn't want to judge or compare or feel like I needed to be a certain person for other people. I wanted to be happy. And I think that's been the journey of realizing that in the joy of giving, whatever it may be, in whatever circumstances, whoever we are, wherever we are, is the ultimate joy of receiving. And I think that to me has been the gift of receiving so much from the children that I work with, from the families that I get a chance to connect with and serve together with, and from the noble friends that I've had a chance to meet along the way. And like Reverend Judy and Daniel, who you'll hear from later, I mean, both of these souls have been beautiful, noble friends for me um, along the path. I know we shared last time for some of you that were here, for the synchronicity of how things work out and how Daniel and I had a chance to connect is so magical. And I think all that happens as we align ourselves more with what we believe in, um, and and grace magnetizes and conspires to put us in the right places or meet the right people or engage in the right action. So I feel that one of the biggest takeaways for me in this journey, aside from so many things like not having expectation, which before I think I was full of growing up and getting into college, there was so much expectation. And now I think the wisdom that comes constantly as a lesson is surrendering, not to have expectation of what has to happen or where things need to go. And I think another big thing for me has been the value of gratitude, which I think we all kind of practice in so many unique ways. And right now, as we speak, there's a tremendous amount of suffering going on in the country that I have been living in. And somehow I'm not there right now. But I'm on the phone every morning and every evening with the team there at our nonprofit. And it's devastating to hear the stories of what's going on in India, what's going on in our city, the amount of people's lives that are stacking up. And literally right across our apartment and next to the Gandhi ashram is a crematorium. So the view of the smoke clouds every day right now are way beyond measure. We've never seen it before. Our family that's there right now has been describing stuff to me, every time we get on calls. And not to be, I mean, they're such a resilient and amazing group of souls that it's not taking them down. They're actually pushing so strongly forward in terms of what is service now. On our daily routine, service is working with our kids and giving them a holistic education so they have an opportunity to break out of the cycle of poverty. And right now, there is no borderline of poverty, and oxygen is oxygen. And those that don't have access to a hospital, whether you're wealthy or not, it's just how can we lengthen lives right now, and how can we give a chance for people to be supported until they're able to get into the hospital? How can we feed families that have lost their daily salaries, In India, a lot of people are on daily income, and that's what feeds them that night. How can we get them meals and grocery kits to sustain them for the next few months? And there's a team of our friends, and there are many thousands of teams across India right now focused on this kind of unexpected uh, um, kind of thing that has popped up that kind of maybe has not been seen anywhere in the world with this virus up to date. I think we felt it in New York City for a moment, and that was devastating. And then this is kind of like that's one huge fire, and then here we're seeing, you know, hundreds of fires across India in the same way. So, what I'm feeling is that when we have that noble friendship around us, when we have those souls that are constantly committed to healing, to serving, to loving, and it's not through one way or another. When I look at Dan, I'm so proud of just his life journey and how he has been serving through his music, through his words, through his heart. And all of us have this capacity, and all of our tools are different, to serve, to love, to give, to smile, to allow that grace that has been given to us flow through us for the betterment of others and the betterment of our family and our friends. And to me, that's noble friendship. And I think that's why we get together here every Sunday. We find our own noble friends and families wherever we're located, typically in a physical location. And we stay connected, and we inspire, and we get inspired by, we learn, and we teach, and we stay together connected as a family so that we can serve one another and help others in need and relieve the suffering and bring more joy. So I think, a lot of times, so right now we're doing a bunch of relief efforts, fundraising, doing as much as we can. So many people I'm in touch with on a daily basis, and they're telling me, we feel so helpless from here for what we can do in what's going on in India. And I think, the beautiful thing that we always can do is pray with a deep intention. We can serve in our own ways, but one feeling I try to share this with my kids, my nieces and nephews, meaning I don't have my own kids, is that we can always move from guilt and a feeling of helplessness to gratitude. I think like feeling grateful for what we have is its own huge prayer, and because that overflows into our actions and the way we serve and help others and give when our cup is overflowing. So I think just practicing that gratitude for the blessings we have, I think, is so important. But so there's so much suffering everywhere. But we have to know that, like this daily word of grace, we take it knowing that what can we do about it? And that's through prayer and through small acts of love and through kindness and whatever we can do wherever we are with whatever we have. And I think we can smile when we are able to live from that space. So I wanted to share a song, but Reverend Judy, I wanted to ask you, because I love the video, and I would almost feel like sharing the video instead of singing it, because there are two noble other friends of mine, Chad Harper and Nick Dalton, who are amazing service angels. And I would just briefly share their story. They're both artists, and they both serve underprivileged communities, one in Brooklyn, New York. Nick is now in Northern California, but he was on a group of Broadway actors that were helping younger underprivileged kids in the New York City area. And then he came to India, and we all connected in India and created this song. So I would love to share the song, because the song is filmed in 5 different continents, the video. So I wanted to share this and just say that all of us being here together represents this idea of noble friendship. And may we continue to nurture this this flame and keep kindling it so that we can help serve one another that we're near and dear to, and send prayers out for others. I'm going to share. Can I share the screen? Okay. I love the thumbs up. And so this song and video, which again is with the collaboration with my dear sister Ellie Walton, is called "To My People."
we were born, and Mom hugged us with warmth, and we grew cause we knew we had all your support. From the fams to the friends, your love was medicine, keep giving us the strength to rise when we would sin, and the knowledge that we gained through every single mistake. But you never backed down through this, you taught me faith. Every single one of you, through being you, you do find a way to spread love through truth, through me and you. And it's because of you I grew, because of you I flew, because of you I made it through without residue, because of you we all have a home to come to. You're a blessing to us all, so keep just being you.
To my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold, yeah.
First I thank the universe, the infinite, the all. Kaja, Allah, whatever name you call. Then I thank the ancestors, yes, the predecessors. The wisdom and the knowledge that they passed only bless us. Shot the Marcus Garvey, MLK, Malcolm Gandhi, Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, Tupac, they remind me. The power of the pen, the music and the voice. Everything they've done, let me know I have a choice. Now for my people, mom, pop, sister, brother, best friend, acquaintance, lover, co-worker. Even if I don't know you, all the good that you do helps me see my way through. Surface space, make you sharing all the good
To
too.
my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold.
When I close my eyes, I always see learning souls who walk with me. They taught to laugh, they taught to love. You go to hug when push comes to shove. Turn the cheek, forgive, walk away. Tomorrow is another day. Life is short, helping hands, they say, are holier than the ones who
To
pray.
my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold. To my people, yeah, you're my soul, you're my roots, you're my family, my life, and my truth. To my people, yeah, everybody, every being, every life, every moment, everything. To my people, yeah, you're my God, you're my soul, you're the one that pushes me to help me grow. To my people, yeah, I bow down to your heart of gold. To my people.
All right, and I'll let us flow forward in the service.
We all serve in our own way, and this coming together like this is noble friends. I love that, noble friends. It's a way of strengthening our light and being lights to the world. Howard Thurman used to say that he felt that his church was a launching pad for people to go out and do what they were called to do in the world as teachers, as mothers and fathers, and whatever they were called to do. And it reminded me that Lassie Rosencrantz, my first Unity minister, had a desire to be a missionary. She was actually raised in a convent, and she just always felt that she wanted to be more like Mother Teresa than a Sundays only, minister. And she was doing the dishes and washing diapers, and she had a bunch of kids. And she said she got this message, and it was, Lassie, when you do it for one, count it for all. Do it with all your heart and soul for that child, that person, and you're doing it for all. So I give thanks for you, Nemo, and for where you are and what you're doing, and for you, Daniel, for where you are and for what you're doing. And I am so grateful, Daniel, to your parents for giving birth to such an embodiment of ahimsa, of soul force in the world, in your own creative and beautiful self. So now we're going to turn this over to Daniel for his sharing.
Thanks, Judy. Um, you know what? Nemo knows how much I admire him and how proud I am just to know him, much less be his friend, much less be his collaborator. And one of the things that impresses me about anybody that Nemo has in just huge, huge capacity is to feel no jadedness and no hesitation to do a good thing when no one's looking. It used to be one of my favorite phrases growing up was, and I don't know who said it or if I mutated it in my mind, but integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. I always love that phrase. And I think true kindness is doing something on behalf of somebody else when no one's looking. Or actually, there's a quote, Nemo. I still haven't quite figured out who said it, but something along the lines of, true service is planting the seeds for a tree under whose shade you'll never sit.
Yeah, Nelson Henderson.
Okay, good. I love that quote. And here's what I'm really getting at. What I'm really getting at is this. I mean it as a compliment, not as a put down. There's the smallness of great work. You know, we put posters on our walls of heroes, you know, of a Nelson Mandela or a Dr. King or a Gandhi. Or a Mother Teresa or we have heroes in our minds, people who climbed some imaginary ladder of not just service but of fame. And I promise you, they don't even know how they did it. It just kind of happened that way, that they become poster children for heroic good deedery, right? The sneaky thing is that it's like I read somewhere like this is going to sound very random, but that the total weight of all something like the total weight of all the ants on Earth is equal to the total weight of all the humans on Earth. That's how many ants there are. And I think the same is sort of true for the heroes in whatever field. Somebody is held up as an icon of something. But for every one person who's famous for feeding the hungry, right, there are 1 million people who do it every day without a spotlight shown on them. No posters, no slogans, no websites, no awards, no applause, just because. That to me is, I wouldn't say a greater level of service, because who could put down the contribution of somebody who leads an entire movement, for example? But it's absolutely an equal contribution to the world to feed the person next door who's hungry. It takes the same commitment, it takes the same generosity, it takes the same unjadedness to help a person as it does to help 1 million people. It does. We all know how busy we can be running a committee of 3 people, right? Or running a family of 4 people. It's right. It's not. You're not less busy, and you're also not less committed. I mean, with my Facebook shows that I've done the last year, there are people, there are people in pop culture who belch on screen and get more views in 5 minutes than I've gotten from everything I've done for an entire year. Okay, and I've done like 180 something programs on Facebook live since last March. It wasn't entirely a humanitarian gesture. I mean, I didn't know why I started. I started because I wanted to do what I do and had no other way to do it. I wanted to sing a song of peace of mind in a world that was freaking out, and I had nowhere to go except to turn on what I consider to be one of the evil corporations in the world, Facebook, and start broadcasting and singing songs, right? But I discovered it didn't take more than a few weeks, that the feedback I was getting certainly wasn't from millions of people, wasn't from hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands. The feedback I was getting wasn't from thousands. But I was getting feedback from a few that my concerts were the only company they had for the week. Right? For 12 people, me showing up and slopping my way through my shows, which I have managed in 24 years to prepare nothing and polish nothing. So I show up like this, and there are a few people around the country, maybe outside the country too, but just a few people who have sent me notes that tell me that what I have done for them has made a real difference to their state of mind for the last unbelievably stressful and isolating year. Now, I could absolutely, and I'm not going to say I don't, I could absolutely wish it was millions, right? Who doesn't? At least in the modern world, who doesn't imagine you say something pithy or clever on screen and a million people show up and suddenly everybody's talking about you and the phone rings with the book offers and TED Talks wants you and, blah, blah, blah. Of course. But I'd like to think there's a slightly wiser piece of me that knows that keeping a woman company who buried her husband 10 years ago, whose kids and grandkids live 2,000 miles away, who is homebound receiving groceries in bags on her front porch, keeping that woman company is worth a little inconvenience on my part. Am I really so earthbound to statistics or numbers or dollars that I can't feel internally, privately, what's the word I'm looking for? That I can't acknowledge the value I'm adding simply by keeping that one person company. Okay? Now, Judy is such a sweet human being in general, and she watched the video that I released of just last week, an interview of my mom. Okay? Now, the tie-in for me here is that I have huge admiration for someone who will, like what Nimo did. No words can describe Nimo won't trumpet what he does, right? I took my boy to see one of the shows that he did with those kids touring around the country, more than just the United States, right? 15, 16 kids. Nimo knows, just like the Jewish proverb knows, saving, or at least substantially helping those 16 kids, or 15 or 17, whatever they were, helping those kids is helping the world. It is no less valuable than running the United Way. It isn't. On the ground, with eye contact and an outstretched hand and a hug when someone needs it, that is, in my mind, greatness. It doesn't pay my mortgage and it doesn't get me a Grammy, but the part of me inside that wants to be a good man, a good father, a good husband, a good citizen, wants to leave the world a little better than I found it, that guy, he's in there. He's in there fighting with the Grammy luster, right? That guy knows that the people tuning in to my Facebook shows, the few, those people, that's enough of a reason to do it. That is worth my time, if that makes sense. Now, just as I admire the small acts of kindness that are churning all over the world every day anonymously, I also love the secret heroism that approximately everybody has shown in their lives. You scratch the surface of somebody's story. The person who folds your laundry has done something spectacularly brave in their lives. the person who teaches your kid, the next door neighbor with the barking dog, the politician you can't stand, sorry, whoever it is, if you take the time to ask, which who has the time, you scratch the surface and you find guts. You find somebody who stepped out of a box, who stepped onto a stage, who went to college for the first time of anybody in their entire family, who was a first-generation immigrant who started school not speaking English, who started with $100 and made $50 million with it, who started with a dream that everybody thought was insane, built a successful business, somebody who had never touched a piece of wood in their lives and then built their own home. You scratch the surface and you find, just as you find kindness everywhere, you find heroes everywhere. I'm not talking about people on posters or in headlines, right? I'm specifically talking about you and me and my mom, who I interviewed for this show. My mom, you would see walking down the street and think, that is a tiny little woman. She's about 4'10". You know, she peaked at 5 feet. I was taller than her when I was 12, right? Humble, quiet. My hair is like hers. When my hair gets long, I have my mom's fluffy hair. It grows out like a helmet. She likes to watch Adam Sandler movies. She's always loved Goldie Hawn. This is just an American woman who likes to watch TV and take slow walks, loves her sons, just a normal person. You're walking down the street. So I only knew some of her story. I scratched the surface for an interview, right? And in fact, she's so humble, I didn't even think to interview her. Melina, my wife, told me, you got to interview your mom. You just interviewed your dad. You got to interview your mom. I'm like, of course I've got to interview my mom. So where did this little woman come from? This little tiny woman who quietly, her advice to me on the first day I started my first corporate job, which I did for 6 years before quitting, her advice to me on the first day of my job was, Danny, keep your mouth shut, do a good job, and go home, right? And I am exactly the opposite. That was the worst possible advice to give to Danny, but that is how she lived her professional life. She worked in a bank, and then another bank, and then another bank, a trust officer. She was an attorney. She handled wealthy clients with modesty and professionalism and bulletproof integrity. That's all she did, right? So where did this little woman come from? Her parents left their tiny town in Poland and crossed over the border to Russia on the day the Nazi army invaded Poland. They heard whispers that the Nazis were doing something terrible to Jews when they encountered them. They didn't have details. They followed a hunch and crossed over into Russia. The rest of their families did not. They never saw any of them ever again. The Russian army deported them to Siberia, where they barely survived for 3 years. My Bubby and Zadie, my grandparents, for 3 years, digging onions out of the ground to stave off starvation and typhoid, right? On the tundra of Siberia, with no protections, no legal rights. They worked as slaves for the Russian army. And then when came time, the Russian army released the Jewish prisoners they had. They didn't bring them home. They let them out and said, take care of yourselves. My grandparents made their way, and you ought to look at a map. The world is a big place. I had never done it before. They made their way from Siberia through Uzbekistan on their way back to Poland. My mother was born in a clinic in Uzbekistan, in a small town where they did not want refugees. My Bubby traded a couple of extra nights in the hospital for sewing because she was a seamstress. She said, if I sew uniforms for your nurses, will you let us stay a couple of days? And they carried on and never got back to Poland because Poland was not welcoming to them. They actually snuck through Poland, where they were born and raised, never went back home, never saw anyone in their families ever again, to American-occupied West Berlin, where my mother started kindergarten in a displaced persons refugee camp in American-occupied Berlin. And when my grandparents got a letter from a distant relative who had moved to Chicago 35 years earlier saying, if you come to America, you can stay in our house. My grandparents arranged somewhere in that DP camp, somebody taught my mom enough English so that when they arrived at Grand Central Station in New York, my grandparents didn't speak a word of English. My mom, at age 9, the age of my son upstairs, translated for them to figure out how the hell to find the train to Chicago. Fast forward 70 years, and I'm talking to my mother in her condominium in Chicago with her husband of 55 years by her side, with 3 sons who all graduated college that they paid for, with her earnings from the banks. She speaks 6 languages. She finished at the top of her law school class. This is a woman with a steel spine, even if it's a teeny tiny little spine. And this is just one of billions of examples of heroism that all you got to do is look a little closer. And the last thing I'll say is, if it's true about everybody, and this is not a pep talk, it's just a simple observation, it's true about you. This has been a hard 13 or 14 months. It has been heartbreaking and scary and angering and upsetting and unnerving in every conceivable way. The thing I keep saying in my concerts over and over again online is, go easy on yourself. And that means, among other things, notice your own private, secret, unobserved, unacknowledged by anyone else, your secret acts of courage and kindness. They are there. You commit them all the time. Even if nobody witnesses them, it is a core of gold in you and in me and in everybody. My friend Nimo goes to India and gathers children who have no earthly possessions or opportunities, and he hands them something. It's an act of kindness that no one notices. He didn't take them on tour for the applause. You never saw anybody take less credit for a concert tour than Nimo did at those shows, right? Tiny acts of kindness committed every day, tiny acts of courage every day. The world is a richer, much more beautiful and encouraging and uplifted place than you would ever know about from the headlines. We are that world. We are the stuff of courage and kindness every day. And that is what I've learned from the interviews I've done and from the interviews that I have procrastinated editing for like 6 months, including an interview of Nimo that is going to be hopefully released. I interviewed a soldier who saved several lives. Unbelievable stories. All you got to do is scratch the surface. So that's kind of what I want to share with you today. I just took so much time. I don't even know. Judy, do I even have time to sing a song anymore, or are we out? If we're out, I understand. Wow.
Yeah, that was worth every minute, Daniel. Hear this applause.
Thanks.
And I would love you to sing any song that you want, and then we'll go into a brief meditation led by Nimo.
Okay. That's a very cool space effect. All right. Well, without further ado, then I told Nimo we're doing a wrap-off today. This is the only song I've ever rapped, and you're about to know why. But this is a song that you now know too much about my life story, my family story, and now you'll know a little bit about why I would write the lines that I wrote in this song. It's a tribute to my family, to the music I make, and the mostly unconscious reasons I make it, and also to many artists who have done what I have tried to do with my music, what Nimo tries to do with his music. Bring down the walls for a few minutes at a time, make the world a little bit more peaceful, a little bit more connected, a little bit more kind. There are a lot of role models for us in doing that, and I name some of them in this song. So here we go. It would have been a new song if I'd been on tour for the last year and a half, but instead it's just been sitting in CDs in my garage. Here we go. All right. Well, it turned itself off. Oh, hang on, 10 seconds. Sorry. I'm just about ready. Here we go. All right. I could sing about mistakes I've made, broken hearts and broken wings. I could sing about my aches and pains and the one that got away. But it seems to me the world has its hurts to spare. Shadows are everywhere. I decided I've cried enough. There's plenty of songs about tough luck. I'm gonna sing about love. Gonna sing about love and lift somebody up instead of talking about tough luck. I can't deny I still dream about the glory, the Grammy, the gold. I cannot lie. I still wish sometimes my eyes and my heart would close. But it seems to me my family escaped the war and they never sang anymore. They lost everything they had. And if a song is all I can give back, I'm gonna sing about love. Gonna sing about love and lift somebody up. Gonna sing about love instead of talking about tough luck. Whoa, no more tough luck. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. Gonna take my cue from a few folks I look up to. I'm gonna sing about love. Stevie Wonder sings in the key of life. Bobby McFerrin says be happy, it'll be alright. Marvin Gaye showed the way to what's going on. It's a wonderful world thanks to Louis Armstrong. Soul Asylum saved those runaway kids. John Lennon just imagined and the whole world did. John Denver took a skyway team to Turner to the sea. Stevie went to a higher love. John Legend and Common to freedom. Pete Seeger's gonna overcome. Bob Marley just smiled at the rising sun. Eminem will lose himself before the moment's gone. Miss Jackson knows the knowledge is what we want. Gloria Gaynor maintained that we're gonna survive. Tim McGraw wants us to live like we are dying. Aretha got R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Bette Midler from a distance the whole world we see. Tom Petty free falls. Leanne hopes we dance. Josh Groban raises us up if we're hurting. R.E.M. understands. Irving Mead bless the USA. Van Morrison ushered in a brand new day. Whitney sang about the greatest love of all. Johnny Nash can see clearly now the rain won't fall. Pink knows we're beautiful. Christina does too. Rihanna sees us shining like a diamond. We keep walking like the Foo Fighters. Fight the power public enemy's head. Miley is a climber. Andy Grammer keeps his head up. Bill Withers, we can lean on him. Natasha's unwritten. Taylor Swift shakes it off again. Lady Gaga was born this way. Jason Mraz, truly glad to be our friend today. The Black Eyed Peas wonder where is the love. Desiree gotta be. Journey never stop believing in us. Simon over troubled water made a bridge. Elton John little candle for Diana he did. It's the same love. Macklemore was moved to pray. Izzy made a rainbow with an ukulele. James Brown loud and proud. Bruce Hornsby laid it out the way it is. Queen made us into champions. U2 and Dr. King and the power of one. Sam Cooke made you look. Change is gonna come. Peter Gabriel ain't giving up on us just yet. We are the world. Save lives. No star they couldn't get. Irene Cara, what a feeling alive. Pharrell made us happy. Katy Perry lit a firework in the sky. Carole King, we've got a friend. Switchfoot dared us all to move again. Paul McCartney's words of wisdom were to let it be. And the weight of the world was taken off by Aloe Black and Avicii. So what do? I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sing about love. Sing about love. And lift somebody up Instead of talking about tough luck, I'm gonna sing about love. There you go. Thanks for having me.
Daniel, that was beautiful. I've had the blessing to be able to see Dan perform that live, and when he first shared it with me, I was just blown away. Every time I hear it, I'm blown away. What a ode! What an ode! Yeah, Dan, you're going to be singing that on the big stage one day, wherever that may be, and I look forward to it. It captures so much about the art of music that touches every single human being's life. So thank you for that. That was the deeper space that you took us in. Yeah, we can. I know we don't have much time, so we'll just kind of settle in and absorb, and connect back to our breath. And I just encourage all of us to feel free to feel comfortable and close your eyes if you feel, just so that you can connect with your body and your breath and all that we've shared about today in terms of grace and small acts of love and the courage and kindness that's within all of us. And I encourage us all to just take we're going to take 3 deep breaths, but just take a deep breath in. Breathe in that love, that kindness, that community that we're all part of, and breathe out our prayers to the world of love and hope and peace. Take another deep breath in. And a breath out. One last deep breath in. Let that air just hold there in your body. The love that we all share together today in this moment. Let it reverb through your body, and a deep breath out. Once again, sharing that breath, which is a prayer right now. For all those that are suffering, we share that breath. We share this breath that we have access to with all those in need right now of an extra breath. And while we're sitting here, just relax your body and feel your body and feel the sensations, on your head, in your eyes, just for a moment. Feel your mouth and your throat, your shoulders. Just be in touch with the sensations of your body and getting rid of our thoughts that take us elsewhere. Feeling your arms and your fingers. Feeling your chest and your back. Feeling blessed that we even have the capacity to be here today and to feel these senses, and feeling the top of our legs moving down through your thighs, your hamstrings, into your knees, to your calf muscles, to your shins, into your feet. Just hold still for a moment. Breathing in, breathing out. Knowing that this is the vessel. This is the vessel from our head to our toes and everything inside, from our mind to our heart, our feelings, our organs. This is the vessel that we are provided with while we are here. This is the vessel of love. This is the vessel of peace, of service, of courage, of kindness, This is the vessel we get to use to feel grateful for these blessings, for this grace of being alive, for being able to sit here, wherever we may be, San Luis Obispo or Santa Maria or Orange County or Denver, Colorado. This is the blessing to be able to sit here on this earth that is spinning so fast, floating in this galaxy, and here we are with this gift to be one of the 100 billion human beings that has visited this earth. Sitting here, we are blessed with this grace, with this gift to be here amongst the other 7.8 billion human beings and so many animals, to be here all at the same time visiting this planet for this moment. And while we are visiting, being guided by our noble friends, being guided by the grace of God, being guided by the inner voice and light to say, how do we want to spend our time here? And using that grace, that guidance, that voice, that friendship to help us in each step, in each act of love, in each act of response to suffering, in each act of daily chore, and folding our clothes, and walking our dogs, or petting our cats, or feeding our friends and family, or washing dishes, or taking a stroll, or working at the bank, or whatever it may be. That each moment that we are given is grace, is a gift, is a blessing while we are here during this visit. And realizing also with the wisdom of those before us that this visit is temporary. And so knowing this wisdom of this temporary visit that we have been blessed with, we realize that we will and want to make the best of this visit, to dance, to smile, to love, to be kind, to be cuckoo and crazy, to enjoy, and to serve those that don't have the capacity to do that, and to love ourselves and be gentle with ourselves during this visit. This visit that we were not required to have a passport for, that we were just blessed by our mother, by our father, by the grace of God to visit here. We take another deep breath in to soak in this understanding. We breathe out all our love and prayers to all those in need, to ourselves, praying that this suffering that's unfolding right now in India and in our country here, in all the countries, may keep reducing. And through this suffering, may we have a renewed sense of spirit, love, sense of oneness, realizing we are all part of this global family together. And just have a few 10-20 seconds of silence, absorbing all of this energy of each other in. We take another deep breath in and slowly come back. Feel free to slowly open your eyes or keep them closed if you wish. And just thank everybody for joining today and for our Unity Santa Maria family, for holding space for each other and for the world like this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nimo, for that beautiful, beautiful meditation. And now we'll close our service with our prayer protection with the affirmations. So together, the prayer protection with the affirmations. Do you all want to stand? You've been sitting a long time. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. Yes, you are.